Number 30. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you, Vedangi. Okay, before starting our syllabus, first tell me, anybody has tried that dot class file yesterday's that I have shared with you yesterday? Anybody has tried it? Yes, students?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So today we will start the first basics points because we cannot directly move towards programming. You should know its history, then why these keywords are used likewise. So first we will start with basics concept related to Java, why JDK, JRE is there likewise. Okay, so we will see one by one. I will directly open the notes. It will be better for you. Okay, first I will move towards the, 1 minute, I will share my screen. Is it visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So first, I will discuss with you what is mean by history. I have purposefully kept a detailed information of particular points over here, because what happen if I will take it on the slides, you will feel like that this is only somewhat points and you have to work on that. But this is not the case. You should remember its complete description. That's why I have purposefully kept here the history. Before seeing the history, I want to say some applications of it, because you should aware about applications of a Java. Out of that, one is the standalone application and another one is the web application that we are using mostly in a regular routine. Okay, basically four types of applications are there: standalone application, web application, enterprise, and mobile application. Out of that, we will try to cover standalone and enterprise application while learning. Web application is comes under the advanced Java, because advanced Java contains servlet, JSP, Spring, Hibernate, etc. Okay, so with the help of these packages, you can design the web application. And mobile application is nothing but app development. You will see this in the next semester. You will have one subject, mobile application development, that is the MAD. In that you can see this mobile applications, but its base is a core Java. That's why this comes under the application of a Java. Now first we will see the history of Java. Java is a programming language and is a platform. Okay, now everybody knows about what is the programming language. Yes, what is the programming language? Java is a high level. Just a minute, students. Sorry for disturbance. I will once again share it. Due to some network issues, I have to stop. That's why. Is it visible?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Now see, Java is a programming language, and this programming language you already know, but you should know the platform. What is mean by platform? Platform is an hardware or software environment in which a program will run, and it is known as the platform. Okay, now whenever you will learn the complete description of a JDK, in that time you will find out the Java runtime environment, that is the JRE, which is one type of a API used to design the platform. प्लॅटफॉर्म म्हणजे काय असणार आहे, हार्डवेअर और सॉफ्टवेअर एन्व्हायरमेंट विच अ प्रोग्राम रन्स. जावाचा प्रोग्राम कोण रन करून देणार आहे, जावा रन टाइम एन्व्हायरमेंट. ठीक आहे, आपण कंपाईल करताना जावा कंपायलर यूज करतो, पण इंटरप्रेट म्हणजेच ऍक्च्युअल प्रोग्राम एक्झिक्यूट करताना तुम्हाला JRE चा यूज करायचा आहे. It means any hardware or any type of a software which supports to run the program is called as the platform. But in case of a Java, JRE acts as a one platform. Understood? Yes, students, have you understood?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now,
Yes, ma'am.
now, next one is a Java. It's a high-level, robust, object-oriented, secure programming language. These are the actual features of a Java. Okay, but while covering the history, you should know it, why this is designed to achieve the high-level, robust, object-oriented, and secure programming. When we start actual implementation of our Java programs, at that time we will see why it is a high-level language, why it is a robust, object-oriented, etc. It is mainly developed by Sun Microsystem, which is a part of Oracle now, and it is mainly developed by Sun Microsystem in the year 1995. The father of Java is a James Gosling. Initially, it is designed by James Gosling with the help of a Sun Microsystem in 1995. And before Java, it was named as a Oak, because in the initial state, it is considered as a Oak, and Oak is directly registered company. So James Gosling and his team changed Oak to Java. This is the simple history of Java. Now you can see platform. Right now I have shared with you what is meant by platform. Just you have to remember that platform is nothing but any type of a hardware or software environment in which your program will run, and in case of a Java, JRE acts as a platform. Okay, so whenever in time of an interview, if anybody asks you that which platform is used to run the Java program, at that time you should give answer as a JRE, Java runtime environment. Okay, have you got it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
should we move towards features?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So we will see the first feature, that is the simple. Okay, first part. Java is called as this simple language because when you will start programming in Java, you can see that its syntax are very easy as compared to C++. But if you know the C++, then it will be very easy to design the Java programs. Okay, that's why it is called as the simple, because you have already learned it. After completion of C++, you are moving towards the Java. That's why. And Java has removed many complicated and rarely used, I will highlight it. Java is removed many complicated and rarely used features. For example, explicit pointers, operator overloading. Okay, have you learned pointers in the C++?
Yes, ma'am.
Right? So here no necessity to use the pointers in the Java. We will see at the time of a collection, you will get its idea why there is no necessity to use the pointers. In the fourth chapter, we will see this point. Okay, why pointers are not needed in the Java, and operator overloading. In the second chapter, while learning the OOPS concept, we will see this point also. There is a no need to remove unreferenced objects because there is a automatic garbage collection in Java. In fourth chapter, we will see this feature. Okay, because of these three features, Java is called as the simple language. Okay, we will cover these 3 points in the chapter 2 and chapter 3 respectively. Okay, so at that time I will once again remember you that why this is a simple. Next one, object oriented. Java is an object oriented language. Everything in Java is an object. Okay, so whenever you will comes towards the object oriented, you should know what is mean by object, what is mean by class, and four pillars of object oriented, that is the inheritance, polymorphism, abstraction, and encapsulation. Okay, so in second chapter we will see it why this is completely object oriented. Okay, then platform independent. This is the platform independent. Yesterday we have seen this feature. Okay, I have created one simple program having name as a first program, first.java. I have executed it, means first I have compiled, then I have interpreted. After compilation we got the dot class file and I have shared that dot class file with you. Am I right?
Yes, ma'am.
Right, so I have shared that file with you, and after sharing you have executed this file on your machine, right? It may be of 32-byte machine, 64-byte, it may have different windows, it may have the different OS also. That's why Java is called as the platform independent. Okay, so we have covered this feature, but you should know its theory part. That's why I have kept here. Java is a platform differs from most other platform based software and that runs on the top of the hardware based platform. It has two components, runtime environment and application programming interface. It basically work on these two components, runtime environment and application programming interface. Whatever program we have designed, it designed with the help of a API, and after we have compiled, we have saved in the dot class file, and that dot class file is provided to runtime environment, that is the JRE. It will execute it, so we can move that dot class file anywhere. Okay, Java code can run on multiple platforms. Okay, and this bytecode is a platform dependent code, platform independent code, because it can run on multiple platform. And whenever somebody asks you about what is mean by platform independent, you have to describe all these things, and its working is like that: write once and run anywhere. I have shown that difference also. I have written one sentence, welcome TY for the first lecture, right? And I have compiled it, and whenever I am executing that program in multiple folders, same answer will be get displayed on your console. And whenever I will rewrite in original program, that is in .java, at that time I have written welcome TY A and B, but I have not compiled. At that time what happened, previous output will get displayed. Whenever I will save it and recompile it, then and then only your new output will generate on your display. It means write once, run anywhere. This is also important question for interview or POE exam. Okay, any query?
No, ma'am.
Okay, next one is the secured. Just remember this, what is mean by bytecode, how to verify it, we will see in today's lecture. Just remember that this is a secured one. Why this is secured? It not have explicit pointer, then it has a virtual machine. Okay, I will show you where it is. Then class loader is there, class loader concept is there, bytecode verifier and security manager. We will see this complete information in today's lecture, but just remember that Java is a secured one. Okay, next, robust. Why it is called as the robust? Meaning of a robust is nothing but a strong. Why it is called as the strong? It has a strong memory management, lack of pointers because no necessity to use the pointer, that's why it is a very strong. And automatic garbage collection. With the help of Java, you can design a different collections without garbage, and it run with the help of a Java virtual machine, JVM. Okay, what is mean by JVM? We will see it. Just remember it. There are exception handling and the type checking mechanism in Java. All these points make Java as a robust. Means we will find out our Java as a robust when we will learn it completely. Whether my screen is visible?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Yes,
Yes.
ma'am.
Okay. If you feel like that my screen is not visible or my uh, voice is not audible, just drop me a message on my phone, not over here. Okay, so I will easily get it. Next one is the architecture neutral. Why it is architecture neutral? You can see in C programming language, integer data type occupies 2 bytes memory. Okay, for 32-bit architecture and 4-byte memory for 64-bit architecture. This is related to C. C प्रोग्रामिंग शिकत असताना तुम्ही काय चेक केलं होतं इंटिजर मी एक सिंपल एक्झाम्पल घेतलंय इंटिजर डेटा टाईप असताना 32 बाईट आर्किटेक्चर असेल तर 2 बाईट्स मेमरी ऑक्युपाय होते आणि 64 बिट मेमरी असेल तर 4 byte occupy होते but in Java it occupies 4 byte memory for both 32 or 64 bit architecture. Okay, that's why it is called as the architecture neural. Means your machine may have 32-bit architecture or 64-bit architecture. It always allocate 4 bytes only for integer, not a 2 bytes separately for 32-bit, not a 4 bytes separately for a 64-bit. That's why it is this is one simple example. Many examples are there to prove the architecture neural. Okay, then portable. Java is a portable because it facilitates you carry the bytecode to any platform. It doesn't require any implementation. Means if you have installed Java on your machine but you have not designed your code but you have the .class file, means bytecode, you have the bytecode, so you can easily execute your data on your machine. No need to check the source code of that .class file. Okay, then high performance, just remember this name, high performance distributed. We will see this in RMI concept in the networking part, why this is a distributed. Then multi-threaded, we will see in the multi-threading chapter. And dynamic. Dynamic is nothing but, yes, static means fixed one, and dynamic you can make a changes in it. Java is called as the dynamic language because its classes are loaded on demand. It's not always loaded in the loader. Whenever you will require it, you have to load it on the loader. Okay, whether you know the linker loader, whether you have heard these words.
No, ma'am.
Okay, so in SP you will get this complete idea what is meant by linker loader. At that time you will find out why these classes are there and how to load it on that loader. Okay, so just see that whatever classes we have designed, we are converted into bytecode with the help of a Java compiler, and all these are get loaded whenever you want to interpret it. Okay, it means classes are loaded on demand. It also support functions. It also support functions from its native languages, that is C and C++. And after that, we are moving towards the dynamic compilation. At that time, it may generate the garbage collection. Okay, so we will see this complete part in the 4th chapter, that is the collection. So whatever features we have now listed, we are seeing one by one according to your chapter. Okay, so this is the first program. We have already executed this, so we will directly move towards next part, that is the internal details. Whatever program we have done, how it works in the JDK, we will see it right now. Okay, so yesterday we have created one program called as the first.java. This is example of a simple.java, but we have generated there as a first.java. Okay, so consider here yesterday's code, that is the first.java. After that, we have done compilation. After that, we have done the compilation with the help of a Java C compiler, right? On the command prompt. And after compiling, we got one .class file having the same name as a class name of that Java file. That is the first dot class. We got this bytecode. It means Java code is converted into bytecode with the help of this compiler. Okay. This process is done with the help of a compiler. Okay. Are you getting? Just a minute. And after that, what happens at the background? Are you able to see this diagram, or should I maximize it?
Visible, ma'am.
Okay. Still, I will maximize it. See, after compilation, it goes to interpreter for execution of that class file. Okay. So what happened? First, that class file is loaded on the loader. Class loader, we can call it as a class loader. That dot class file is loaded on the loader. Then it check bytecode, whatever bytecode is generated, it is syntactically correct or not. It will check over here. If any changes made by the user, then automatically it generate the error message or according to input output. Okay, means which connections you have made, which input you have provided, according to that it will generate the error message on your console. After verifying the bytecode, it goes to interpreter. Means it directly cannot move towards the Java interpreter. What we have done? We have used the Java interpreter and we have provided that file. Okay, this is our yesterday step. Okay, likewise we have written. Just a minute. Okay, this is the interpreter. This Java acts as an interpreter. Before starting work of an interpreter, class file is get loaded on the loader. It check the bytecode and then actual interpreter works will start. And after that, it will execute your program and it will print on your console. And if you want to pass this output to any hardware, means if you want to pass it to any type of a sensors like this, then you can provide it to that hardware. Otherwise, it will be printed on your console. So this is the actual working of your Java. Okay. Any queries in it?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Can anybody once again revise it? You can participate from your side. Just describe the flow of your program, how it is get executed. Yes, students. All of you got it? Mention in the chat box.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, I will repeat it once again. Okay, see here once again. Whatever code you have written, that we are saving with the help of a .java extension, right? That Java file is given to compiler for compiling. That is the Java C compiler. You can see here Java C, which convert your data, your program that is the .java file, into bytecode, and which is saved as a .class file. Okay, which is saved as a .class file. This is the first portion related to compilation. After that, we are moving towards the running of that program. For that, you need to follow this process. Internally, this is followed, but you should know it. That .class file is get loaded on the class loader. After that, it goes to bytecode verification. If it's verified, then it goes to interpreter to execute your program. And after interpreting it, it generates the actual output on your console. And if you want to provide it to any hardware, then you can provide same output to that particular hardware. For example, sensors. Okay, likewise. So this is the working of your internal part of a Java program. Okay. Now you can see at the time of a compilation, Java file compiled by Java compiler, but it does not interact with OS. Just convert it into bytecode. At the time of a compilation, just it convert it into bytecode. It doesn't interact with your OS. Okay, so basic parts are nothing but class loader, bytecode verifier, and interpreter in the interpretation process. Class loader is important, then bytecode verifier and interpreter. And class loader is a subsystem of a Java virtual machine. We will see now what is meant by Java virtual machine. Okay, see here. This is the Java virtual machine, and these are the different set of libraries. Yesterday I have shown you where all libraries are there. Now I will open that libraries once minute. 1 minute, I will share with you. Just a minute, I will share it. Are you able to see this window?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
Now, this is my Java file, Java folder. In that JDK and JR is there. We are seeing first this JRE. What is mean by JRE? In that JVM is there and different library files are there. So I will move towards that JVM. In this JRE, different library files are there, and in bin folder, different plugins, then okay, different application. Likewise, all files are available over here. This is part of a JRE. And again in JDK also, you will see the same process. Library files, bin folder, and in that different plugins are there and different application files are there. Okay, now first see the Java virtual machine. It is an abstract machine because it doesn't physically exist. It's completely present at the backend, and it is specified provide in runtime environment in which Java bytecode can be executed. जो तुम्ही जावाचा बाइटकोड डिझाइन केला कंपायलेशन झाल्यानंतर तो कम्प्लिटली कुठे वर्कआउट होणार आहे जावा व्हर्च्युअल मशीनवर. इट कॅन ऑल्सो रन दोज प्रोग्राम्स विच आर रिटन इन अनदर लँग्वेज and compiled to Java bytecode. Okay, we will see if we have some time, means how to write it in another language and how to compile it in the Java bytecode. Okay, this is not mentioned in your syllabus, but if we get some time after completion of your syllabus, we will see this example. Okay, then JVM are available for many hardware and software platforms. Just now I have told you what is meant by platform. JVM, JRE and JDK are platform dependent. See here what I am saying. JVM, JRE and JDK are platform dependent because the configuration of each OS is different from each another, but Java is a platform independent. Means whatever dot class file you have created, you can move anywhere where your Java is installed. But JVM, JRE and JDK is not a platform dependent. Don't confuse in between these two things. Okay. However, Java is a platform dependent. There are three notions in the JVM, that is the specification, implementation and instance. Okay, just go through these points because its working is nothing but load your code, verify your code and execute and provide runtime environment. This is the task for JVM, Java Virtual Machine. What it does, it first load your code, verifies it and execute it and provide runtime environment. Only this much is the work of JVM. After that, it goes to Java runtime environment. Means only this circle you are seeing over here, only that much task is there for JVM. After that, it take a help of a libraries and other, if any other files are required, and it generate the remaining portion of your program, and it all this process comes under the Java runtime environment. And JDK. JDK is nothing but, you can see here, JDK is nothing but JRE plus interpreter and compiler. JRE plus interpreter and compiler, Java C and Java. Okay, so JDK is made by these two things, and JDK is an implementation of one of the below given platform of Oracle, that is the standard edition of Java platform, enterprise edition or micro edition. Okay, so out of these three, anyone will be there if you want to implement your program. Okay, any queries? This is the architecture of Java, how JDK works. Okay, you should know it before starting the actual syllabus. Okay, now today we will see the naming convention, because if you want to design any code, you should know how to design a class, how to design interfaces, variables, likewise. Okay, so now we will see very simple conventions so we can move towards the programming. First part is a class. First part is a class. Normal rule is what? The name must not contain any white space. Okay, you have already learned in C and C++. Any variable name does not contain white space, and any variable name should not start with special characters like ampersand, dollar, percentage, likewise. Okay, and whenever you want to design any class, we have seen one class in previous lecture, that is the public class first, right? At that time I have written name as a first over there. Right now employee is the one class name. It should start with uppercase letter. It should start with uppercase letter. It should noun as a color, button, system, thread. Means give the proper name so you can remember it easily. Okay, its motto behind this statement is what? You should design a proper class name, so whenever you want to use it once again in your program, you can easily make its object. No need to remember it with complete name. Okay, use appropriate word instead of acronyms. Means suppose I have created one class, public class, only capital A. Okay, then it will be very difficult whenever you are creating 10, 20 and more than 20 classes. So give the proper name, so it will be very easy. Same is applicable for interface. It should start with uppercase letter. It should be an adjective such as a runnable, remote, action listener. We will see at that time how to give these names for interface. Okay, just remember that it should start with uppercase letter. Okay, next one is a method. Yesterday we have seen one program, in that only main method is there. How we have written that? Public static void main. For printing, only void print. This is the system defined methods, but whenever you want to create your own methods, then give name in the lowercase letters. Okay, it should start with lowercase letter. And it should start with verb. For example, main, print means whatever data means whatever working you are doing with the help of this method, that name should be given to that method. Means if you want to display some data on your console, then you can write a void display method. This is the user defined method, void display. If you make a addition, then give name as a void add, void subtract likewise. Okay, if name contains multiple words, then it must start with lowercase, and second word you have to start with uppercase. For example, action, perform. This is the one word, this is the second one. First word completely in this lowercase, and second word first letter we have written in the capital. This is not hard and fast rule, but for making a simplicity we are doing this process. Then variable, it should start with lowercase always. It should not start with special characters. Then if the name contains multiple words, then same process like a method. Okay, and avoid using one character variable, for example XYZ. Provide a proper name to variable, so it will be very easy for remembering as well as to calling in multiple methods in multiple classes according to our use. Next, package. How to give the package name. At that time also I will once again revise it, but at the starting phase you should know it. It must be in the lowercase. If name contains multiple words, then you have to give the dot as a separator. For example, java dot util dot remaining portion, then java dot language and remaining packages likewise. Okay, so this is one example. Okay, next one, constant. It should be in uppercase. Whenever you are using the constants, for example, to give the null value, you are using the null. Then for providing the pi value, you are using the capital Pi, likewise red, yellow, names of a colors. If name contains multiple words, then use the underscore to separate it. Max priority. We will see whenever we will get such a type of a example. And it may contain digits. It may contain digit, but not as a first letter. Okay. Only these are the some conventions related to constant. And camel case. Camel case is nothing but whenever you are implementing more than two words in your naming, then second word must start with the uppercase letter. So it will be very easy to recognize two different words. Okay. Now here actual your syllabus is get started. Language basics. First point is the variables. Okay. Any queries? Now I will move towards program. Any queries in it?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Now we will move towards our first point in the syllabus, that is the types of variables. Just a minute, I will stop sharing my screen because I want to open the one notepad. Just a minute. First, I will open all windows so you will easily see it. Okay. Are you able to see this notepad?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes.
So, okay. Now see, first I will describe the types of a variables. Then we will see one example how it works. Types of a variable. There are basic three types in the Java: local variable, instance variable, and static variable. Okay. First is the local variable. The variable declared inside the body of a method. See here what I am saying. The variable which is declared inside the body of a method is called as the local variable. Is called as the local variable. Now, how to execute this program? Okay, you can see here simple example. This one is the we have declared one variable called as the name is n having value as a 90. We have declared inside the method. That's why it is called as the local variable. You can use this variable only within that method, and the other methods in the class aren't even aware of this variable. म्हणजे तुम्ही जे व्हेरिएबल त्या मेथड मध्ये डिक्लेअर केलेला आहे त्या मेथड पुरतच ते ऍक्सेसिबल आहे. बाकीच्या मेथड्सना ते व्हेरिएबल अवेलेबल आहे हे माहीतही नसणार. ओके. देन a local variable cannot be defined as a static. Why it is not static? I have already shared with you, right? Whenever you will mention any method as a static, no need to create its object. Same for the variable. Now, instance variable. The variable declared inside the class but outside the body of a method. See here, inside the class but outside the body of method is called as the instance variable. It is also not declared as a static. It is called instance variable because its value is instance specific and is does not shared among instances. Okay, we will see with the help of an example. Just see that it must be declared inside the class but outside the method. This is a local variable, and last one is a static one. Static variable is nothing but a variable which is declared as a static and it cannot be a local, means we cannot declare inside the method. That's why it is cannot a local. You can create a single copy of a static variable and share among all the instances of a class, means no need to use the object to access this variable. जर तुम्हाला हा व्हेरिएबल ऍक्सेस करायचा असेल तर क्लास याचा आधी ऑब्जेक्ट क्रिएट करावा लागेल आणि मग हे व्हेरिएबल ऍक्सेस करावं लागेल, राईट? पण इथे स्टॅटिक व्हेरिएबल जे क्रिएट केलेलं आहे ते डायरेक्टली तुम्ही ऍक्सेस करू शकता. Okay, with the help of a class name only. Memory allocation for static variable happens only once when the class is loaded in the memory. Memory allocation for static variable happens only once when the class is loaded in the memory. Means always no necessity to provide the memory for this variable. Okay. Now we will see its examples. Have you understood this one? Who is called as the static, who is called as the local, and who is called as the instance variable? Have you understood? Because now we will
Yes,
move
ma'am.
towards, okay. Now we will see different examples of these variables. Now see, I will write here one program. First, I will write one class. I will give name as a this is our first program related to variable. So I will give name as a first var. You can give your own name also. Then first I will declare